What's up, folks? This is Dan from Discern. A reminder before we get started with this review, the Kickstarter campaign that's currently going on, we have less than 2 weeks remaining. We are trying to raise money to continue this channel into next year, all the way through the end of next year. Think of it like public radio or TV. You know, your contributions are the means to growing and furthering along this channel. So if you appreciate the content here, please consider supporting it, donating to the campaign. You can follow the link down below for more information on that. All right, let's get underway. These are my thoughts on the debut album from Chris Quilala, Split the Sky. Chris Quilala is a worship leader and songwriter from California. He is most known for his work with Jesus Culture, which he has been a part of, I think, since its beginning, in the 90s actually. He's one of the main songwriters and lead vocalists for the music released under the Jesus Culture name, including the songs Fierce and Your Love Never Fails, and he's a worship pastor at Jesus Culture Church in Sacramento. Despite all the songs he's written, despite all the music he's created or had his hand in, he had never released a solo album of his own. But that changed last week when he released his debut album, Split the Sky, a full-length record of 12 songs in a genre and style that separates itself from the typical Jesus Culture sound. This is an electronic pop record with a mix of retro and modern sounds. There's synth sounds and effects galore, creating an atmospheric landscape dotted by poppy lead lines from synths and pianos and guitars, dance-inspired drum beats, and occasional vocal samples. As I listened to this album, my thoughts kept feeling split. Split between the music and the lyrics, or between the mood, sort of the background, and the content, sort of the foreground, because I felt quite differently about the two. On the musical side, I really enjoyed the blend of snappy pop sounds with cool atmospherics. There's a lot of blissful chaos in the swirl of bubbly piano synths, warm, bellowing bass tones, punctuating guitar leads, and tightly grooving drum beats, both from electronic as well as acoustic drums. The mix just comes together really well, although the album as a whole kind of overstays its welcome. I mean, it's almost an hour long and really slows down after a while and loses its energy. In fact, the handful of times that I listened through this album, I don't think I ever made it through once without feeling my head dropping and my eyes, feeling heavy, starting to close, slipping into a sleepy slumber. It's the combination of his airy, light voice, the enveloping synth atmosphere, and just this gentle, almost dreary pace at times. Sometimes this album is, jumping out at you with pop energy, and other times it plays it so safe and ordinary that you start forgetting about it a little bit. Your mind drifts off. Now, some of this may be due to the pacing of the album, from beginning to end. The first two tracks come out really strong. I mean, they're clearly the most single-worthy tracks on the whole record, and putting them up front makes a lot of sense. Just like with a business or a store, you put the best product in the window to draw the people into the rest of what you have to offer. And that totally works here. I mean, the track Welcome Here, the opener, features a really chipper synth and electronic beats in the chorus, placed on top of a slow rolling bass line, big and weighty. The next track, After My Heart, starts to really lean forward in energy, with possibly the most involved mix on the whole album. The chorus is just packed with spunky rhythm guitar, a glimmering guitar lead that really blossoms in the instrumental bridge, a concise and straightforward groove from the drums, and just a swirling collection of blips and bleeps that circle around the mix. And the verses, by contrast, pull a lot of these pieces out, calming things down, and the sound centers mostly around a round, smooth piano tone with just a few scattered ambient guitar swells. And I think dimming things down like this in the verses really sets the stage for letting the chorus shine even more, like it does. Now, as the album continues, it starts to lean more on slower, halftime grooves with minimal beats and a greater emphasis on swelling ambience and chill vibes. Not a bad sound, especially on tracks like Won My Heart and Only One God, which still features some interesting and engaging synth leads. But the songs Encounter and Surrendered, they take a real dip. I mean, sluggish, heavy ambience, almost directionless at times. Again, not a bad sound, but the way this album kicked off makes this down point feel even more down. Things pick up a little bit with the song Rain, another packed mix with when everything gets going in the chorus, but the vocal melody isn't nearly as interesting or exciting as those first two tracks. And as the album starts to wrap up, the tracks cool back down again. You get some really beautiful ambience at times with thick textures and landscapes. So musically, I mean, I was digging most of this album. I think he created a relatable and humble sort of bedroom producer vibe with delightful synth tones and warm, almost blanket-like ambience. It carried a simple joy that feels more like a passion project rather than something, manufactured by a team of producers or executives. But lyrically, I wasn't really feeling the same way. It wasn't much of a surprise to me. I mean, knowing that I've never really liked much of the lyrical aspects of the music from Jesus Culture. And since a good handful of Jesus Culture songs were actually written by Chris Quilala, I mean, it's no wonder I feel the same on his debut album. On a basic level, I thought the lyrics weren't very complex or freshly innovative. They tapped the well of overused Christianese phrases and rhymes just too many times. Not all the time, but too many times. There's a lot of times where you can obviously guess what the rhyme is going to be, where it's going to end up, where the phrase is going to turn, because it's just written in such an expected way. I mean, here's a sampling. You laid your life down for me, now I'm set free. I won't be afraid, I'm calling out your name. You walked through the fire. And probably my least favorite verse from a rhyming perspective. Take the keys to my heart, investigate every part. Place your seal on my chest, all for you, all the best. Not the greatest rhymes. Heart, part, chest, best. But beyond the rhymes, the metaphors and imagery as well in the lyrics are just as stereotypical. I mean, it's worship lyricism I could see from any other CCM artist. References to fire and chains and thunder and oceans and shadows. Pictures and images we've seen 1,000 times before in worship music. And there's a whole host of images and pictures and metaphors you could pull from. I mean, there's no reason it has to be this stereotypical. I mean, these pictures are usually true or they're reasonable metaphors. I understand why they use them, but they have become hackneyed through years of incessant use. And just conceptually, again, it's more of the same, a very typical offering from a worship album. Themes of bowing down and surrendering, feeling won over by God's love, having a spirit-filled encounter, wanting to live a life for God. All concepts and themes we've seen repeated over and over, which is understandable considering, they're all coming from worship music artists. But to repeat the same concepts as other artists, with similar imagery and metaphors, and similar rhyme schemes, it all starts to blend together to make the lyrics as a whole feel forgettable and an unremarkable aspect of this album. And on a deeper level, the lyrical themes and content were also theologically shallow and watery. Again, I'm not shocked as I have listened to Jesus Culture before. I know what their typical output is like. And to be clear, I'm not looking for a doctrinal thesis or dissertation on some theological concept. I'm talking about the fact that the unifying theme for this album is God's pursuit of us. I mean, just look at the song titles and you can see that. But unfortunately, it doesn't express what makes God's pursuit so powerful. That we are sinners who God should obliterate, yet he pursues us. I mean, he redeems those who he has every right to justly condemn. Instead, it takes a very man-centered angle and seems to be saying, God, you pursued me, so I'm going to pursue you back. And these songs generally divide, into some about God's pursuit of us and some about our pursuit of God. Either way, the end result is that the songs have us as the object or sometimes the focus, far more than makes sense in a worship album. And when we're in view, when this picture, of God's pursuit shows us as well, the aspect of our sin and depravity seems almost unidentifiable. I mean, in these lyrics, our sin and our rebellion against God gets boiled down to soft descriptions of shame, darkness, being lost. I mean, instead of the sharp realities of who we are, apart from the saving work of Christ, we're enemies of God. We're haters of God. I mean, sin sharply divides us from God. So in barely scratching the surface of how deeply depraved humanity is, it inevitably barely scratches the surface of how wonderfully deep the love of God is. Instead of reflecting on the great work of Christ, the saving work we call the gospel, this album seems to be about an emotional experience or an encounter with God. It seems to be about feeling His love, feeling a relationship with God. And that feeling then gets labeled as spirit-filled worship or something like that, But if it was truly spirit-filled, it would be clearly exalting in the gospel and the work of Christ. I mean, the Spirit is meant to do more than just make you feel emotions for the sake of feeling emotions. In John chapter 16, Jesus describes the work of the Holy Spirit, saying, "He will glorify me, for He will take what is mine and declare it to you." The Spirit working in the lives of believers exalts Jesus. Spirit-filled worship is defined by Jesus as worship that glorifies Jesus, that points you to Him, not just makes us feel good or feel a presence or have what some may deem an encounter with God. In closing here, I guess I have more positives than negatives about this album. I enjoyed most of the music here. I'd love to see where Chris goes with this sound in the future, maybe how it impacts the music from Jesus culture in the future. But I thought a lot of the lyrics were par for the course when it comes to most worship music these days, so it wasn't surprising, but I still wish the lyrics would have been more creatively and expressively up to the level of the music, as the music was creative and fairly expressive, and that the themes would have driven home a bolder and brighter view of the gospel and the person and work of Christ, considering, after all, this is a worship album, and the gospel should be the brightest thing on display here. I put some links down in the description box below this video to listen to this album. Give this thing a listen. Let me know what you think about it. And down there in the description, there is also a link to Chris Quilala's Twitter in case you want to check out more of what he's got going on. All right, thank you so much for watching this album review. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. New album reviews just like this release every Friday, and new track reviews release every Wednesday. If you have a question or a comment for me about this album, about my comments and thoughts about this album, or about something else, you can comment below this video. You could tweet at me at discernreviews, or you could send me an email, discernreviews@gmail.com. And before I finish, a final reminder about the Kickstarter campaign. We have less than 2 weeks left before it's over, so please follow that link below this video to support the channel, to keep it going for another year. Your support is essential to making this thing a reality, so please do what you can. I'm very thankful for all your support so far. Hopefully we can make the goal, keep this thing going. Thank you for being with me. Thanks for watching this video. Hope this helps. See ya.